Hi, it's Frank again, and today I'll continue with the skeleton here. And to give it a skeleton for the skeleton, I created in the first step. Thanks for joining me. If you saw the first step too, that's where I drew the skeleton and then separated it into several pieces. And the reason you do that is so it's not all one single piece, so you could give it individual parts so they can move separately. It seems pretty obvious, but sometimes you'll have a character where you have the arms and legs all what seems separate, but if you just separate them individually, you have a lot more control for the skeleton. Alright, so next thing I'll do is grab the arm on the right and just move that over there. With the sword, I'll just rotate that right now and have it probably like that, and then just move it into position here, so when he grips the sword it'll look like that, and then when he's not, his hand would be open like that. So the next thing I'll do is take this arm and the bone and just move that over there, and I keep them so far away because each bone will be weighted, so if it's too close to something else, the weight can affect it and then it can get distorted. Alright, so with the jaw, I want that to be a separate piece. If I left it right where it is, I can only go into this layer here and move it like that, and it would work. And I might do that depending on how the jaw works for the rotation. But I'm going to try to rotate it instead of just going vertically with it. Vertically does work though for that particular situation. Alright, so next thing I'll do is just zoom out a little bit more so I can see everything. And now I'll just go really quick with the skeleton. So the first thing I'll do is start at the bottom. That's the main pivot. And then go 1, 2, 3 right up the torso. And then actually for the skull, let me go back to this one here and just put the skull starting right out there. This way it could rotate at a more natural angle than rather just vertically. Alright, so I just want to make sure that's selected, and then rotate this jaw maybe like that. Alright, I'll pick the shoulders and I'll just go down here with the arm and give it 4 separate pieces. Go back to the shoulder, click on that, and move the arm down here. Keep it a little bit separate to have a little more control. And now that I have the hand created, I'm going to create another bone for the sword. If I don't do that, the sword will get all distorted and look really weird. Now I'll pick the pivot of the torso and then just create these bones here with the skeleton, and then just have two for the foot, and then select that again, and now see that's the main stem for this, so that's why I have to reselect it, because this leg is parented to this pivot point there, just like the arms are parented to this shoulder. So when the shoulder moves, the arms move automatically. When the whole character moves, the legs are attached to the whole character. Just like the upper shoulder, the neck is attached to the skull. The skull is attached to the neck. Alright, so next thing I'll do is put all these together and see how this all connects and works. So first thing I could do here is just see how that works, and it works. So I have a movable jaw with a skull, and now I can just go into here and position that right about there. Then move the arms where I think the arms would go, and then grab that, move that there, grab the leg, move that down there, and then the other leg, move that over there. So there we go, and let's see how this pieces together, if it's good or not. So far so good. And then move that. That's a really good bend. That arm there. I could do that. That would work. It squashes that bone a little, but I could reduce that by going into the forearm and just reducing the power of the forearm. Yeah, that works. The jaw bone doesn't have to be so powerful, so I can reduce that a little. The sword I can reduce slightly. Now I'll check the knees, see how they bend. That's pretty good. Yeah, that's not bad. You're still going to get a little bend in the limb. I mean, as it bends there, so there's not too much that can be done there. But that's not bad. I like it. Alright, and then the foot looks good. There's not much to worry about with that. And that's it. I have the main character. Alright, so the head I feel is exaggerated because that's what I'm going for here. And then you could see what it looks like there. And now I could zoom in a little bit and see what it looks like. But yeah, that's the default pose. And then I could just do a preview, see what that looks like. Smoothed out, and more like what it will look like when it's animated. It's so fun to be able to draw just a skeleton character, like Ray Harryhausen with the sword, and then the video game Golden Axe. I haven't really done that and animated it. I've always imagined it, but I never actually went ahead and did it till now, out of all my years of being a cartoonist, artist, illustrator. So that was fun. That was a fun project. I mean, I've drawn lots of skulls and skeletons, but never quite like this, where they have a sword and they do stuff like this. I might have in the past, but never quite like this. Alright, let's see. Only because I've drawn millions, well, maybe hundreds of thousands of drawings of different characters and sketches over the years. Pretty much every day I draw like multiple cartoons, especially in school. When I was listening to the teacher talk, I would start drawing cartoons, and it looked like I was taking notes. But yeah, I was paying attention. It's just that I felt the cartoons kept it a little more entertaining. Alright, so let's see here. Next thing I'll do is save it. It's saved under skeleton man, and then do scripts. Oh no, it's actually under window actions, and this will allow me to give it different animated cycles to work with for whenever I move it into another file or setup or scene. I could just drop it in and it'll have all these pre-animated from what I'm doing right now. So here we are, we're on the top layer here, and then what I'll do is here he is, he's just standing, just minding his own business, and just a normal stand like that. And one thing I'll do for the stand is just keyframe this one, because if he comes back from a walk, it'll just link into this height right here, where the stand is. Alright, so next thing I'll do, did I keyframe that one under that? I think I did. Alright, next thing I'll do is copy this to frame 48, then paste it, and then go to frame 24, the in between, and just have a little bit of motion so it looks like he's moving. The legs, I'm not going to do anything with those, but the jaw, I'll have the jaw open a little bit. So there you go, you got a basic stand in just a couple seconds, well, probably about 30 seconds. And you can press play if you want. See, this sword is moving. Well, I guess that's okay. I think that works. He's just standing around, so I don't have to worry too much. Alright, so now that I have the stand, I'll just do a quick walk. And the way you do the walk is, first thing I'll do is set this keyframe here for the height, and then I'll just, that's not what I want to do there. What tool is that? Scale bone. Huh, I never actually messed with that before. Alright, and I've been using this program since 2015, Anime Studio Pro. Alright, so what I do is select all these outer pieces, and that keyframes everything. So it's creating keyframes, even though you don't see a lot going on here. Every time I click on something, it keyframes it. So with a walk, I want to have him leaning forward a little bit, and then let's pretend that he wasn't holding a sword, so I can just see what's going on here. For this, I'm going to move this like this. Alright, and then bend these a little bit more, and then have that maybe like that, and have his mouth open and close. And then let's see, so that's the neutral frame, and then I'll just copy, paste that a couple more times, 12 and 24 for a 1 second cycle. Go to frame 6, and here's where this foot will go forward, this foot will go back, and then the torso will move a little bit. Since that foot on the same side is moving forward, this arm is going to move backwards, and then this arm will move forward like that. And that's because this leg on that side is moving backwards. So it's like counterbalancing. And then I can move his jaw open a little bit. And then I'm not going to change the height yet. I want to just focus on this first. You could change the height right now, but I'm not focused on that yet. This leg might be a little too far down, but it seems to work when I have them lined up. Alright, so that's there. This arm will bend forward a little bit and move forward. This arm will move backwards, and the torso will move forward a little bit again. And the mouth could open up a little bit more, like that. And then now I could adjust the height. So because his legs are going further apart, he's going to drop down in height from his original position, and then here as well. So it looks like he's bouncing up and down instead of just stagnant on the same plane. Next thing I'll do is the movement of the front leg. At this point, I'm going to move it up a little and bend it, and then have that like that. So when he kicks out, it hits the ground at that point. Now that back leg should be going like this, bending to avoid hitting the ground. And at this point, it should be up here again, trying to avoid hitting the ground. And then right here, it's going to kick up and bend like that, as though he's like stomping his foot forward, and it gives it a really neat, simple effect, but it works. And then for this one, I'll just move this back like that, and then frame 1, I'll just go like this, move that like that a little bit, and there you go. There's your basic walk animation. I have to secure these keyframes here, so let me do that right now, because I'm going to delete frame 24, so this will loop perfectly back to frame 1 when I piece that there. So looking at the animation, see how it merges perfectly? Well, as good as I want it. Alright, so next thing I'll do is the skull. I want to have it bounce a little bit since he doesn't have a lot of control over his skull. So his skull is going, his skull is pivoted to this neck, and because he doesn't have total control over his skull, when his body goes down, his skull is still hanging in the wind. So here, the body just hit the ground and the skull's still catching up, but at this point the skull should bounce and hit the bottom right there, and then it should be like still stuck to the bottom as the body is moving upward, and then here it's still stuck to the bottom of the rotation, and then here it reaches the top, and this is where I can just move the skull up as it finally catches up to the height, and then here it's still up there, and then here it hasn't hit the bottom yet. Well, the foot has hit the bottom, but the skull is still there, and then here I could just have it hit the bottom there, finally catch up, and then there. So now I could look at it here and make sure that worked okay. Yeah, that looks cool. It's like he's bouncing and that head is wobbling around. That's what I was going for. Alright, so that seems okay for now. And if I press play, you don't get an accurate read of it. It's too fast, and the animation can't keep up. Alright, so next thing I'll do is just piece all this together in the main line, double click main line. And here we are. We'll go to frame 1, which is the green arrow. There it is. You can see frame 1. And now I'll just do this. I'll click on stand, insert copy, and press that. And you can see these pasted right in there. that. And now that I reach frame 53, insert the walk there. But it copies the 0 frame, so I'll just delete that. And there he goes, he starts his walk. With the walks, I'll admit, I keep them pretty basic. There's a lot more you could do with them, but like you could have some really crazy personality to each walk if you want. And I do that with the zombies. Those have really unique walks. But for my other characters, I tend to just have them more basic walk. Alright, so that's there. Now I can put the stand back in, just paste that in, but I have to delete this 0 frame. Since the 0 frame is the neutral pose, it doesn't really do anything. And then just finish this animation here with his stand. So he goes there. Wait a second, what happened there? Oh, okay, he stops. Oh, I see what's happening there. His arm bone rotates. So I'll just move it rotating a lot quicker. Actually, I should do it right here. Delete this. Yeah, that looks better. This way it's not this slow robotic movement. And that's something I sometimes miss, that I have to really focus in. Alright, so I'll just render this out under preview, export animation. Normally I would have it just like this, and then I would do OK, and then actually I have to go to frame 1, actually right here. This will be the last frame, 173. So I would just go like that, and then export animation with just this for now. Apply layer effects. Anti-alias is for the really fine tuning of the final animation. But for this I just do this, and it goes a little quicker. Then I'll just select the quality of the video, if it's low res, high res, or the quality of the video, and then it'll start to render each frame in probably about, I'd say it takes about 3 minutes for this animation, and then I'll export it and show you what it looks like when he walks. But thanks for watching. Feel free to comment, subscribe, share, and like, and have a good day.